This is Ivy Unleashed, a Gold Ivy production. Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we are feeling grateful that you're listening, but also that you sent in some questions for us to answer, and there is a variety pack.
They're good. They're
good.
personal. They're fun. There's some really special shout outs we're going to get to at the end that we're excited just to soak in the gratitude.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I don't even know what order we should go in. Do we just grab whatever the first one we got?
Why not?
Okay. Well, the first question was, when's the next Group Fitness Live event?
And we said, I don't know. When should it be?
Yeah, you tell us.
Last one we did was at Union Fitness, which is in Eagan, Minnesota, which is about 30 minutes from me, 45 from Andrea. We live about 15 minutes apart, fun fact. And I did a dance class, which was super fun. It was like a dance sculpt for their members. And then before then, we did a pretty big event. It was our first event ever. It was so exciting. And it was a yoga and a strength train split, so 20 minutes each. And then we did like a little social hour after, which was super fun.
Wasn't it like cardio dance? Yeah, Jen did cardio dance.
Oh, we
and
did
then
3.
strength. Yes.
And then we did yoga after. Yeah, so we had a really good variety. So if you're in the Minnesota area, Minneapolis, close to us, let us know.
And also we do it live too. Like we try and stream it for anybody that's listening wherever you are. So we'll see what we can do, and you will know because we will put it on socials.
Yeah, we've been a little busy pumping out 2 episodes a week right now. So it hasn't been top priority, but it definitely is something that we want to do. We've been focusing our attention too on Move. So if you want to work out with us, join us on Move. You can get a free week, and then you can get access to all of our workouts, our resources, which is super exciting too.
And we're getting some cool ideas from the people that are moving. So thank you if you're giving us feedback. One of our coaching clients was talking about how I don't think I've told you this yet.
No.
She really wants some videos to go with her marathon training program. And so she wants me to do a little stretching video. She also suggested that you, as a, like, she said, quote unquote, non-runner, because you're not trying to run a marathon in every state, but you're totally a runner.
She's okay.
But she said she wants a video of, or she thought it would be helpful to have a video of you kind of giving a little mindset pep talk for the long runs from someone that it doesn't come as natural as it does to me, or like isn't drawn to long distance. And so we have just some random ideas that might be coming to Move that we haven't even thought about. And that's why getting your questions and getting your feedback is so important, because we want to serve you well.
We're doing this for you, baby.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Something that was super helpful for me that I shared in our marathon episode when we talked about running our marathon together in Austin, Texas last year was like what helped get me through it, right? And I played a game with myself and I had fun with it. I looked forward to it. And each mile I did a self-limiting belief, and I switched it. And I just pumped that through my head the entire time. So, for example, like I'm broke. I was like, I'm a rich bitch. I was running, and I just fled myself with proof of like how I've gotten creative, how I've made money, how I've gotten out of debt, how money always comes to me. Same thing was like my legs are so strong. Gave myself evidence like I've already ran 16 miles. So it was super fun because once I saw the mile marker, I was like, okay, what am I choosing next? And I was like, whatever comes to me is meant to come to me. So
Which is dangerous, because sometimes at like mile 22, you're like, I hate my life.
But I flipped it.
The evidence of hating my life is that I can't feel my legs, and I sweated through my shirt, and I have to pee.
I also had a really strong why, which I know is what we say for anyone making a change, right? A year prior, I had a vein collapse in my leg, and I really didn't know if I was going to walk or run again, and it was terrible. And so this race was proof to myself that my mind and my body, after my, not just the vein collapsing, but my whole health journey, was that my mind and my body are one, and they're working and they're on the same team, and they've got me. So having a strong motivation of why you're running a race, good ass music.
Dude, I forgot about your vein collapsing.
I didn't.
Well, you've just been so active and capable of everything physical in the last 2 years that I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I would not recommend. It was such a wild experience. So I had, not to get too deep into it for you listeners, but I feel like it's an interesting story. It's your GSV vein, and it goes from your ankle all the way up to your groin. And I was training, and I was doing my long runs on Saturday, and I didn't really make it that even far. I think I made it to like 13 miles, which is still like decently
That's far.
decently far.
That's a half marathon. That's
right.
far.
But like compared to full on marathon training. And then I was at brunch with my girlfriends, and I noticed this like lump on top of my ankle bone. And I'm like, what is that? It literally looked like a worm was under my skin. Remember that?
Yes.
And it hurt. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're fine. Like, I have that too. And I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, this is like radiating pain. And so I went to the ER. I went to the urgent care. And they're like, you're fine. You're fine. Finally ended up in a vein clinic. I felt like I was 80 years old. And at the time, my boyfriend was in a boating accident. So he was in a boot. So he's like pushing me in a wheelchair. He's in a boot. Then I was on crutches. It was really cute. His and hers boots. But then they closed it up. And they go in there, and they basically put like soap. It's like saline solution. And he has your vein up on an ultrasound. And he's like to Ian, my boyfriend, like, okay, watch this. It's like a video game. Like he shoots the soap, and the vein what's the word I'm
disintegrates?
It like shrivels up. And so they're like, but it hurts like a bitch as they're doing this. And I'm like, on the table. And they're playing a damn video game with my leg.
They don't numb you or anything?
They do, but like you still feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's nothing compared to giving birth, but it was painful. And then I wore a big compression sock that went up to my groin for what felt like years.
I think it's so funny when people compare things to childbirth because
I have no idea.
Well, no, because it's like you get a human being out of it. So yeah, it is excruciating, and there's nothing I've ever experienced close to it. But a human being comes out of the experience. So it's like you didn't get an award or a medal for getting your veins shot up. So you walk out of there
compression stocking that I paid for. That was like $80 damn.
Oh, that's funny.
So needless to say, I had strong motivation to run the race. So I think whatever you're doing, like knowing why you're doing it and ways that you can pump yourself up. But I like that idea. I will definitely. All of our workouts, I feel like you are instructing, and I'm just like the pump up girl. I love my one-liners.
Yes, I do too. I think that's something we haven't really talked about with Move, that you as someone that is paying for our services, we love on you. Like we want to know what you want. And what we do is every time we make a video, we make them on Thursdays. Fun fact. And we're going to after this. But what we do is we kind of channel you. We channel whoever has purchased our services because we want to serve you. Okay, you're a mom of 3, limited time. Let's do a 10-minute core workout that you could do with your kids in the room, or you're a young professional who wants a bikini bod and you want to be in extra good shape this year. Let's do an advanced HIIT, or whatever it may be. And so we're channeling you. So we do have a huge library already, but as you come in, as we get more members, we kind of try and cater to what you'd want.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just ask you.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our goal is that you can move anytime, anywhere. You don't need any equipment, but that it's efficient and effective, under 30 minutes. And you're also getting access to us. So it's an entertainment piece as well. But yeah, so we don't have a live event scheduled yet. We definitely will. Let us know what you'd want to see. What type of movement? Do you want it virtually? A lot of our audience is outside of Minnesota, so that could be something we could do. So let us know. In the meantime, head over to goldivyhealthco.com/move and get a free week and just see what it's like to move with us.
Yeah. All right. Next question. What is something weird about each other that most people wouldn't know?
Andrea doesn't have toenails.
I just do, but they're always dying. Oh,
we did a HIIT workout the other day, and she was about to pass out because she couldn't feel her toes. She's like, I don't have toenails.
It's this weird thing. I think it's like the callousing. It's just, you guys, here we go, TMI. But when you run a marathon, and this doesn't always happen, but sometimes your toes get really calloused. And like, especially if you're running and like your feet get wet and then you keep running, like a lot of things can happen. So that's why socks are very important. If you're a client of mine with marathon training, we always talk about foot care. But every once in a while, a toenail dies, you have bad calluses and your toes, they're just roughed up. I will never be a foot model. Yeah. It ain't happening.
I mean, we've posted about it before. It's just a funny thing that comes to my mind. I also could say you cry a lot.
Oh, yeah. I think they know that, though.
I feel, it's hard because we share everything.
I know.
I mean, not everything, but like kind of everything.
Mm-hmm. Weird things about Brooke. Weird. Weird is such a weird word because it's like, I don't know what's weird.
Quirky?
I feel like.
Quirky? What's quirky?
What's quirky? Every single thing I say goes on a list. Any idea I have, any list, like Brooke will put it on a list, and then she'll do this thing where she'll have her list out, and she's like trying to act normal as I'm like doing dishes and we're talking about things, and then she's like eyeing up her list and like tries to weave it into a sentence or into the conversation so that she can cross things off.
Listen, I only got so much brain space.
I love it. It's just weird in that people live off lists, but you really live off a list.
If I don't write it down, I do not remember.
Okay, I've got kind of a weird one that just came to mind. Brooke's most creative time. Brooke's most creative time is when she's doing her coffee enemas.
Yeah, that's right. I put coffee up my butthole. Let me explain why. So
under doctors.
Yes. I want to say surveillance, but that's not really. I hope they're not watching.
Recommendations, care.
Yeah. It's a natural, holistic way to really detoxify your body. What it does is it upregulates glutathione, which is this chemical that we naturally produce, but it upregulates this by like 500%. And so as I'm trying to kill off bad bacteria and heal my body, it just really helps clean out my system. So I do it. I do it right under doctor's orders, like you said.
How does it create this time for you, this sacred space of creativity?
You really want to know?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so I rarely do nothing. Like, it is very hard for me to just watch a show and not be on my phone. Like, the only time I'm doing that is when I'm with Ian. I'm always multitasking, and I can't believe I'm going to share this, but I will. When you are holding coffee up your butt, it is very hard to multitask and keep it up there.
Okay.
And so I cannot do anything else. And it is, it like stimulates you. So it's like my mind is so clear, and it's like the process of just laying there. But then also when you are fully clean, when you have nothing in you, when you are constipated, you are very lethargic and don't have energy.
Full of toxins.
You're full of toxins, right? So when you get that out of you, your brain is just like, whoa, where did this energy come from?
So I'm thankful. Our business is thankful for coffee enemas. Again, do it only if it's recommended by your physician.
I mean, I've done a lot of weird things, but let me tell you this. When you are trying to take your health back, you will try just about anything. So I don't shit, no pun intended, on anything that anyone wants to try, because there are a lot of means to an end when it comes to taking care of yourself. So yeah, that's a weird thing I do. I don't think anything can top that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I think it's interesting how you put on shirts when you don't want to ruin your makeup. I'm just, in my head, I'm thinking about how, like, what you do that. I'm like, God, you're so weird.
I know, I'm thinking of that too.
She, like, puts her whole hair in front of her face. Never seen it done before until now.
I got it from Caitlin Bristow. She does really weird things to get her shirts on. And I was like, oh, I have so much hair. Just put some of it in front of my makeup.
Yeah, it works.
I feel like as this episode goes on, we're going to think of more.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
Okay, next question. What are the best vitamins or supplements for kids/adults? And how do you know what to choose or if you need to take them at all?
Great question. I would say first and foremost, get your vitamins through food. Because with vitamins, most of the time you're absorbing like 10% of it. You're peeing it out unless you're getting quality product, which is A, expensive, and B, can be hard to find.
But I think too, this question is like, how do you even know what's quality?
Right.
Because they're not even regulated by the FDA.
Which is why, like, try and get them through food. Like, you can get a lot of B vitamins through food. Like, spinach comes to mind. Folic acid you can get through food. So that's something that, like, people don't like to be told, right? They just want a magic pill. And spoiler alert, that doesn't exist. So if you want to save your money, but there are things that we are deficient in. Being in Minnesota, like vitamin D is important, vitamin D3. For me, I just got off the pill, and so I learned that birth control depletes our B vitamins. So I got on a methylated B6 and B12 that Hannah Newman, she's a functional PA, like she recommended. So a lot of my supplements have been recommended to me. Brands, if you are looking for quality brands, I'll say Dr. Mark Hyman, he's a functional doctor that I follow. He has a website with different brands that he recommends that you don't have to have a doctor's script for, because a lot of like medical grade supplements you need. So that can be helpful.
I like that idea of getting them, like, if a physician's going to take them, then that's a good sign. Like for me, with my kids, I think kids is just a different ball game, right? Because as an adult, you're like, oh, I'm not crazy about spinach, but I'll eat it because I need X, Y, Z. I want some extra iron. I'm going to have some spinach. Kids, it's a little harder. I have one kid that will eat spinach. So, and it's far and few between. And then they change their mind every other day about what they like. And so I totally understand why you'd want to give your kids vitamins. Mm-hmm. And so what I do is I asked our chiropractor. We have a neighborhood chiropractor that literally everybody sees or the kids see. And I just asked her because I trust her opinion. I know her education. I know she has 3 kids that she gives. If like someone's going to give their kids vitamins has that type of education, I will follow your footsteps. So the answer is like, there's no number one right. I mean, and you have to be careful because it's money. Mm-hmm. They're trying to sell you. They're trying to make you think you need it, right? And so that's tricky. For me, I'm like, oh, signs in my body, something's off. Okay, my nails are kind of brittle right now, or I'm losing a lot of hair, or I would say tune into your body and just maybe notice, gosh, my skin's been extra dry or whatever. Like a lot of times it's like, oh, I need some more omega-3s, so let me eat some more fish. Let me weave in some more olive oil. Like you said, get back to food. And so, as much as you can experiment with food, yes, and then I would start with your physician, or like Brooke said, if you are listening to our podcast, you clearly could listen to some more and find some functional docs, or just really any type of physician that you're drawn to, you like the type of care they provide, you trust their opinion, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to do what's right for you financially. You could spend all this money on supplements, but are you even absorbing them when you could be really getting them through food, right? Right now, everyone and their mother is getting sick and they need to support their immune system. Yes, you could take vitamin C and zinc, which is super important, or you could have like lemon water every morning and eat foods that are rich in folic acid and different things to help with your immune system. Educate yourself on what you're taking and know that it's not black or white.
Yeah. And that kind of sucks because people want black or white sometimes. But we do have an episode coming up that will be with Hannah Newman, who you mentioned. She's a functional PA, and we're going to ask her about it because, with functional docs, you see all these supplements all the time. You're like, wait, why? Huh? And so I'm just curious. I have the same question as this listener and follower does. So we're going to keep talking about it because I'm curious too.
Yeah. Well, and something I want to add to that too is like get tested. Right. For me, I was super tired and I've struggled with fatigue for years, but something felt different. So I had my iron levels checked and I had my B12 checked. So I had this evidence that showed I was low, because you can not overdose, but have too much in your system, and that's not good either. So I think getting tested to know what's really under the hood, that's something we're going to dive into with Hannah too, is like, how do you get tested? What does that look like? So come back, tune in. It's going to be a good conversation.
Yeah. Next question. What's the best way to shift your mind and get motivated on days you're just not feeling it?
This is such a great question.
Yes.
Motivation. Something we hear every day as coaches. I'm just not motivated. A lot of people think motivation comes before the action, but it actually doesn't. comes after. So something that's helpful for me is having a to-do list that I go off of, getting momentum. Best thing you can do is what we call eat the frog. So you do the hardest thing in the morning right away. But also giving yourself grace. That's something that I've really had to work on, is like, you're not going to feel motivated all of the time. Mm-hmm. And so knowing what are those hours that you do feel on fire, right? Is it the morning time? Do you need to prioritize that 2 hours in the morning? Is it after your kids go to bed? You actually feel like you can sit down. So knowing yourself well enough to know when you do feel motivated.
Yeah. I keep thinking about when you're really off
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I've got nothing. Like there's nothing in my tank. And I think that really comes down to having some time to dig into that. Like, how much have I been digging into my mental health? Like, why am I not okay? Like, normally this isn't this hard, you know? And it's probably you're exhausted. You're probably doing too much. You probably, as much as you want to get motivated to do more, you probably need to do less and get outside and sleep and tell someone you're struggling. Because when you do that, they can help you. And as much as, you know, you want to be this person that does it all and you're always motivated, it doesn't exist. You know, we see people that it looks like that, but in one of our last episodes, Angela Kerrigan, a therapist that was on, was talking about, like, these people have teams. They look motivated. They're on a stage, but they have someone sending the millions of emails that you have to take charge, that you're in charge of right now. And they have assistants and they have housekeepers and they have a million things to keep things going to make it easier for their life. So they look like they're highly motivated and highly successful, and that's partly true. But I'm sure they had days where it felt impossible and it felt overwhelming and that you didn't feel like exercising, because it's all about how your brain works. Honestly, your brain doesn't want to do the hard thing. It wants the easiest thing. And so it's a very complicated answer to the question, and it's very nuanced, and that's why having a therapist and a coach and a really great best friend or partner is important.
Are you calling me really great?
Yeah. But I would tap into, on those days when it's hard, just getting curious. Like, don't beat yourself up that you're not in the mood to exercise. Of course you're not. It's hard. And then you got to shower, and then it takes time, and you don't know where you're going to fit it in, and that feels like work to even figure that out. And there's so many things, but I would say slow it down. Ask yourself what's up, and whatever comes up, you know what the biggest barrier is. You know why you're feeling unmotivated. You know, it's a tough time of year for you. You just lost someone. You hate your job. There's just too much on your plate. Like, there's a lot of reasons, and sometimes you can't always change those circumstances, but you can slow down and give yourself grace for 5 minutes to maybe even write down, like, okay, how can I do one thing to care for myself today or tomorrow?
Yeah, I think prioritizing, right? Also knowing, when we think about motivation, I think we think about willpower a lot, and willpower is the strongest in the morning. That's why I work out in the morning, because I need to get it done, eat the frog, and it is tough. And as the day goes on, people need more of us. We get exhausted. So maybe it is what you need to prioritize in the morning, or maybe it's what you need to delegate and delete. But yesterday I listened to an episode from the Huberman Lab podcast with Dr. Andrew Huberman, and it was a listener wrote in asking about motivation. And they said that they go months at a time where they're super motivated, they're doing all of these things, and then it's like they crash and they just can't do anything. And so he explained how actually motivation works, and dopamine is the neuromodulator that's in charge of motivation, and how with motivation, we cannot wait until we're completely depleted. You have to do something each day to kind of keep it charged. When we get to being fully depleted, it's so much harder to like recharge that. And you may have felt this or have experience with this. So he gave some examples of what you can do. Top one being sleep, which like we all hear, but like don't really practice it. So what do you need to do to get more sleep? And then the second one he said was meditation, a type of meditation, which is NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. And so it's actually giving your nervous system a break. deep relaxation. So he has a really cool video, a 10-minute video on YouTube. We'll plug it, and the episode we'll plug in our show notes. And I've done it the last 2 days. It's basically just a body scan. It's breath work. Like, he kind of gives the distinction where meditation is focusing and non-sleep deep rest is actually getting relaxation in your body so that you can calm your nervous system. You're not freaking out. And that in return is going to help level things out so you can be more focused, more calm, and feel motivated.
And what I keep thinking of too is a lot of our clients will be like, two things. One is, by the end of the day, I just make these terrible food decisions with food. And it's like, of course you are. Your brain is tired. It doesn't want to make any more decisions. So it wants the easy thing, or your body wants something easy to digest, which sometimes will be simple sugars, which a lot of people are trying to avoid. And so having grace for yourself that, okay, of course I want the easy thing at night. That's not what I had planned. And so give yourself grace with that. But then also this, if you go your whole day never really addressing how you feel and you're ramped up all day, you're doing, you're never thinking about how you actually feel or what you need to process or how your mental health is, then you lay down to rest and it floods in and you can't fall asleep because you're finally thinking for the first time all day about yourself and how you feel and what these conversations did to your mental health, or how you didn't get done what you wanted to, or how you snapped at someone in the day because you haven't gotten sleep. It's like this perpetuating cycle. And so I really do think sleep is just number one. Like, thinking about me and motivation, right? I always think about like getting up early. Like, it's like, that's what people want to do and it's really hard. And so this week I was like, there's not going to be a day I'm not up before 5. 4 days in a row so far, but it could be 4:55, but I'm up before 5. And it's not because I'm motivated. It's because I'm prioritizing getting my butt in my bed by 9. Yeah. And it's not always 9 because my kids have needs and, you know, their toe hurts or they need like another Band-Aid or they need to tell me their life story. So sometimes it's 9:19 or 9:56 or whatever, but I'm really trying for 9 so that I can have 7-ish hours of sleep. And so it's not just motivation.
Yeah, there's a level of discipline in there too, right? And what boundaries do you have to set so that you feel well rested? With this non-sleep deep rest, what it's doing is it's calming your nervous system so you can get out of that autopilot, tap into your prefrontal cortex, and that's your logic brain. That's where you can make decisions of, yep, I got to do this, versus like, oh, I'm exhausted and I don't want to. So slowing things down so that you can move forward with your, from your executive function part of your brain is super important. And you need sleep to be able to do that. Yeah. So what boundaries do you need to set? Do you need to put your phone away at a certain time? Another thing that Dr. Andrew talks about is finding what your sweet spot is for work. Like, do you need your weekends? And how much time, how many hours during the week can you dedicate to focus time? Like, do you know, okay, I can be on for 3 hours and then I need a 20-minute break. It's like experimenting with what that is for you. For me, it's like, I know I need an hour in the morning and I can get shit done because my willpower is high, my motivation. And so you have to find what is going to work for you and like sticking to that same schedule so that your brain gets used to that routine. Yeah. Our brain thrives off of routine.
And when it's off, just get curious. Don't call yourself lazy. You're not. If you need to rest, that's not laziness. That is like your body is shutting down. And if you don't give it rest, it will get sick. And you will have to. You will be forced to sit and take medicine and have a fever and all of the things because eventually your body will burn out. Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast, you are not lazy. You are not.
Promise you. Yeah.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. And like, what do we do to avoid burnout? You do a little each day to make sure you're okay. It's the same thing with staying motivated. Like, don't get to the point where you're so exhausted and depleted. Prioritize a little bit each day, a 10-minute meditation, an hour of nothing at night where you can just be and have your me time. So get curious with yourself of really what you need.
And people think discipline is that you can get so much done in a day, but the discipline is to show up daily in a balanced way. That's the tough thing to do. It's not like to have this killer day of getting a bunch done. It's like, no, I'm going to fit in self-care, this same routine, Don't get bored with the basics, as Alan Stein Jr. would say. I'm going to do the same basic routine in the morning that I know checks in on my mental health, because I won't get burnout. I won't get sick. Can't control everything, but you'd be more likely to be okay if your mental health is taken care of.
Yeah. Stick to a schedule. That's the biggest thing I'll say. All right. Next question.
Both of you, how are you taking care of your health while juggling everything? 2 jobs, kids, etc. Great question. I kind of just hinted at what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this a million times, and I really try and help parents do this too, if it's possible, is to have some time in your morning when your brain is fresh. And it doesn't mean you have to jump to 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. It doesn't mean that at all. I would just say to start experimenting with it. So the question is about us. What I'm doing is using that time. The first 30 minutes of what I'm doing is I'm coming down my stairs. I'm filling up my water. I'm drinking a whole glass of water. Try not to have coffee right away. Whew, that's tough. No judgment if you do. There's some science behind the first 90 minutes you're awake. Try not to have caffeine in that time. Helps with the afternoon slump, I guess. Anyways, so water, Bible app, there's a verse of the day, and then I have a devotional that I do, and I have like a running, like how many days I've been doing it in a row, so I don't never want to break that. So I do that, and now I've been journaling almost every day this year. Thank you for the idea, Brooke.
Anytime.
That has been a game changer for me. And so then once I do that, I read 10-ish pages of a book, more or less, meditate. Again, not every day, but really trying to have this routine of me doing all of that before I jump into email, editing, all of those things. And so it's usually about a half an hour. And when I do that, I am aligned with my values. I know how I feel. It's on paper. It's out of me. It's something I'm nervous about. I have fears about. I'm excited about. I'm grateful for. I'm really trying to figure out the answers to, whether it's with like how my kids are doing, or a trip we have coming up, or something I really want to do with my family and I don't feel like we can afford it right now. And I'm trusting God and his plan for me. And oh my gosh, I could go on and on and on, but it's nice to get it out and to put it on paper. Feels like I'm doing myself a favor. I'm honoring that my mental health is important. And I know that that helps me be more present with my kids. And that's ultimately like my goal of every day, is like, I want to be calm, peaceful, centered, and available for the people I love and the service I want to provide. And so if I can be calm, centered, peaceful, I can look my kids in the eye and take time in their conversation and not be bothered that it takes them 42 minutes to put their shoes on, instead of like, oh, it's like this every day. It's like, hey, do you need help tying your shoe? You okay? Everything all right? Just looking at them. And so it's just like, it sounds so simple and like basic, but we're reacting to life if we are starting behind schedule or we're feeling like we're playing catch up. So that's the biggest thing I'm doing right now, is that morning routine.
Yeah, it gets you an offense versus defense, like you said, reacting. You're having time before everyone else is awake or everyone needs a piece of you to be like, what do I want? What am I feeling? Like, ooh, let me meet with myself before everyone else I have to meet with.
I mean, and it used to be exercise. It was like, that was where I just felt like I got my endorphins and now I'm ready. But it's like, now this is even more important than that. That I fit in later in my day, and sometimes not at all. And I want to work on that too. I'm just not training for anything right now. I'm doing move workouts, which is great. So it's not as consistent of a morning exercise routine, but I know this is more important.
Yeah, I think morning for me too, even though I don't have kids, it's still, as coaches and what we're doing, like we're constantly giving to others, and that's what we love to do. But I have to make sure like we know who we are and what we need first, which I would recommend that to anyone. So for me, it looks like coming downstairs, flipping on my fireplace, like having a cozy vibe is super important. Terry Cole calls it her Zen Den, and I've kind of created a similar thing. And it's same thing you said. I journal. I read 10 pages of a book. I meditate. I go to the gym. It's like a 2-hour thing, but I feel at peace. I feel calm. My anxiety is really not there anymore, which is huge. My gut health is thriving because of it. So my morning time is huge. And then I think it's really how I've scheduled my time has made such a difference of having a time blocking system, having an hour on Sundays where I plan my week, having a spreadsheet that I look at that has my priority list. I can cross things off. I can keep my to-do lists in there so I don't have to keep anything stored in my head because that drives me nuts. And knowing if I didn't get to it, okay, my worth is not tied in this to-do list. That's something super powerful I've worked on.
Do you want to just tell the people where to find Focus?
Yeah, you can go to goldivyhealthco.com/shop, and it's our focus template. So there's a weekly template that we break out hour by hour, and then a daily template. And before I close shop for the day, I plop things I didn't get done to the next day. I've got, like things I didn't get done yesterday section. I've got things added today, and then I have like move to tomorrow, which is like things I want on my radar, but they're not priorities. So developing a system that works for you, that you can get these to-dos actually in your calendar, in front of your face, but not tying your worth in a to-do list.
Well, because we're talking about your health, and this is your mental health. This affects everything. It affects your relationships, how you're showing up, what you're capable of, how exhausted you are.
Yeah. It's been really, really helpful. And also getting help. We have Jeremy, our awesome editor. We have Sarah, who's doing our partnerships. We have an intern that we're interviewing for next week that we're super excited about. We're both in therapy and with working with a coach and working with a coach. So having a team to help us, something we tell everyone to do, and we're doing it too.
Yeah. We don't do this on our own. And I have a great partner too, that's why I can be okay with my mental and physical health. Like, he's working out now too. And I think that that's important to acknowledge when you're taking care of your health, that's a game changer. If you're a single parent, it's so hard. And I get a taste of it when he goes out of town, but at least I still have someone that's, financially supporting me, and I know that he'll be coming home or whatever. And I think that support piece, if you are a single parent or just single living by yourself, like, we need that connection, and we need to feel like if we're having a tough time that someone can help us. Or, a lot of people are driven by working out with someone. And if you don't have someone, it's challenging. And so I just want to acknowledge that as much as we're talking about systems and support, it is part of your health. It's how we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, yes, this is work, but we also prioritize fun. And if we're not having fun, if we're not enjoying what we're doing, if something is stressing us out, like, whoa, let's take a step back. Like, life is so short. We've had so many perspective shifts, I would say, the last couple weeks of just people in our circle who aren't doing well, accidents happening, that it just like makes you take a step back and be like, whoa, like life is way too short. Like, we are doing this to help people, but like, let's have a damn good time. So having each other to check each other, to be like, it's not that serious. It's okay. It's okay. And I think having people in your support team, that's the reason for that too. Yeah. Being around people that are going to help you. Hey, it's okay. Or if you are struggling, like, I got you. So surrounding yourself with good ass people. Yeah. And we're constantly aligning and talking and providing each other accountability. So having that person, I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. And then I just think of like health tips. Like, I'm always learning all these things from Brooke of what she's eating or trying or the benefits of something. And, as coaches, we always have to do continuing education to learn more about health and well-being. And so, I think it's just like second nature for us, but we're always trying to eat salads, get our greens in.
Have energy.
Yeah, to have energy, totally. And just have our digestive systems be okay. So as far as like eating healthier or like taking care of my health in that capacity, I'm trying to do more meal planning and trying to drink a lot more water, just the basic stuff.
It's not exciting stuff. Like, it's really not, but it's common knowledge, but it's not common practice. And like, it's what Alan Stein Jr. said, like, be okay with the basics.
Yep.
So figure out what your basics are.
All right. Few more questions left. Next one. What's the scariest thing you've ever done in your life?
A few months ago, I met my dad for dinner, and I hadn't spoken to him in about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
That was really effing scary. But we did it. And
Do you want to give a little background in case people don't know why it was so long of you not talking to your dad?
yeah, my dad just hadn't been in my life for years. And I did a Tony Robbins seminar. A big aha moment for me was just releasing anger and forgiving. And I was ready to forgive. And I sent him a message and he asked to meet and it happened. And haven't really spoken to him since, which I'm okay
Is
with.
that by your doing or his doing?
His doing.
Okay.
And it's okay because it was for me that I didn't want anything out of it other than showing myself and kind of having this no longer weigh on my heart.
Like what would happen if we saw each other?
Yeah.
Or what would it be like?
Yeah. I think it's really empowering to be able to sit across from someone who caused you so much trauma and hurt and to be like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm actually not the one that did this and separated us because I felt a lot of responsibility.
It's so sad that I know that all kids do this, that we think if there's a problem in the household, it's their fault, but it's so sad.
Yeah. It's
Did you realize it when you were sitting there?
I think working up to it, right, doing therapy, doing the work to really process emotions and like what was manifested and being held in my body that I didn't even know. Yeah, it's a wild feeling being like I'm okay without you, but it doesn't make it easier. You know, it doesn't like make it hurt less. I think I walked away being like, wow, I wish you had people in your life that could help you. Not even that. I wish you let people help you. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many people struggling with mental health, and I think that's a big reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I held it in for so long and it got me so sick that it's like, it doesn't make you weak to talk about it. Like, your parents can F you up and you can still be an okay human and choose to get the help that you need. So I think if anything, it reaffirmed why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So that was scary. That'll do it. I don't have anything that would be that scary, but I'm just proud of you. I know we talked about it in detail. I think it was episode 66 about your feelings, and it was a lot more of an emotional experience than where you're at right now, because it was the first time you were really talking about it.
Yeah. Well, and something I learned through, you know, you always hear forgiveness it's about you. It's not about forgiving them. Like, you're releasing that power that they're holding over you. And I didn't really believe that until I did it, until I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. But I think it's something that you always revisit, and it'll always be an emotional topic, because like, how could it not? Right? It's like you look at it as face value of like, it hurts. It's not okay, but ultimately it's not your fault. And so like, that was my biggest takeaway of like, he's hurting and I hope he gets help.
Yeah, you're a good person. That wouldn't have gone that way for a lot of people.
But why? Right? It's this pride that we have of, you hurt me, but maybe they hurt you because they were really hurting.
Yeah, but I just, like you said, there's so much therapy that has gone into you getting to this place of, but you finding it yourself, you paying it yourself, you seeking it yourself so that you are okay. And I think that's something I look up to so much, is that nobody taught you how to do this. Nobody taught you how to have the peaceful conversation with someone that's hurt you so much. I mean, yeah, even in therapy, they're not going to tell you how to have the conversation, you know, but sorting through it enough and taking enough time to advocate for yourself what you need. Like, you knew you needed to sit down with them and you made it happen.
Yeah. I was like, am I doing this? And Ian's like, yeah, you are. Okay. So I think having supportive people around me that were like he was like, do you want me to go with you? Like, do you want me to sit at the bar? And I didn't, but him just saying that was like, oh, I love you so much.
Yeah.
So do what scares you.
Mm-hmm.
There's freedom in your fears and using your fears as a compass. Anytime I do something scary, I get so much out of it.
God, my brain just goes to like, I skydived. I broke up with someone even though they really loved me, but I knew it wasn't right for me. Like big things, not quite that big. I know I shouldn't compare, but as far as my scary thing, you know, I've done a few scary things, but nothing.
I don't think I'd ever skydive, so
No.
you've got that on me. Nah, I got my life back. I want to live. I don't want to jump off of a plane.
Yeah. All right. We've got 2 left. 1. Do you two ever get sick of each other?
All the time.
And what do you admire about each other? Sick of each other. No, I don't.
We don't. We have enough differences, and I think our stage of life really helps with that. Like, we are family, but we're not blood. Like, we're not sisters, so I think there's enough distance where, like, we are still best friends, but I don't know. I think
I think there's just enough variety. Yeah. There's like enough closeness, but enough variety of like, we have, but I think why we're okay is we have the same values.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're in business with someone, it requires a lot of conversations, vulnerability. You know, you go through things and you need to say, I need a week, I need a day, I need what, like, I'm not the person that's going to be driving our business forward this week, you know, or whatever. And it's learning lessons along the way and knowing like you're not always going to agree or you're not going to be on the same page, but like that is what life is. Mm-hmm. And that's like the benefit of having 2 of us, because if it was just one of us, you know, we'd have really off seasons. Mm-hmm. And thankfully we haven't. As far as admiring about each other, I was thinking about this and I just love how funny you are, because like even things that shouldn't be funny, like if Brooke comes to my house almost every day, you'd think we'd be sick of each other. She has seen it a complete disaster in here. She's seen it immaculate. She's seen naked people. She has seen meltdowns. She sees them all the time. Anyway, but
meltdowns, not naked people.
You haven't seen naked people?
Well, not all the time.
Well, I mean, whatever. But she comes into my house and like it's always a funny face or a funny statement, or like if something's getting really serious, she'll like just bust out a funny statement. I wish I could think of an example, but I just like the humor you add. I think if we didn't have that in our business and we didn't like make fun of ourselves, or I don't know a lot of the hip acronyms, and like today I didn't know how to move forward in a TikTok story, and she's like, swipe.
She's like, oh, I have to watch this for the whole 15 seconds. I'm like, sweetie, just swipe.
Yeah, I think we know each other so well that we can we know where we can poke fun, and we know when someone needs like some fun, or
and it's like nothing is serious. Like I get pretty defensive when people tell me like what to do or like correct me, and with us it's like I know where it's coming from. Like it's nothing personal,
right? Like if there's a grammar thing, like we want it to be professional, so please correct me. Or if I came off a little too judgy, like she'll be like, okay, feeling the judgment eyes, like please stop.
Also, like we have to make it work because you're my future.
That's right, baby.
So I think, like you said, we definitely have the same values. We want to have fun. We take what we do very serious. We both believe like anything's possible, and we communicate. Like I think we have really good communication. Ian may say we talk a little too much. He's like, how many texts do you think you and Andrew send a day? I said, not enough. I think he's a little jealous.
I'll find you.
But no, I think our relationship is something that I'm obsessed with, and like it's only gonna get better and grow. And I would encourage everyone listening to find someone like outside of your partner that you can, I don't know, be your person, right? Like I think neither of us had sisters growing up, and we're like sisters, but we don't know each other like sisters.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's a win.
Yeah.
Best case.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Okay, and the last question was not a question.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a thank you. And she wrote, just thank you for all you did to save me. It was a coaching client that Andrea had who is still very active, sends us all of the love on social media. When I was sick, she sent me a care package, and it's messages like that that keep us going, that remind us of why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thinking of who this person is, they've been through a lot. And yeah, it's why we're doing what we're doing. It's to be a light for someone when they need it, to give you a tip that you can apply, to get a free resource when money's tight, to know that we want health to be accessible and fun, and for you not to be so hard on yourself, and especially as a woman, to build your confidence and self-esteem, because you deserve to own who you are and live a life that's fun and beautiful in the way that you feel beautiful. And so you're welcome. We did not save you. You saved you, but we're happy to be here for you.
Amen.
Thank you for sending in your questions. We loved getting them. We'll be doing this again probably every season because we never know what you want to know, because we feel like we tell you everything. So it's like, what haven't we talked about?
Yes.
But yeah, so
Always,
thank you.
always send us your questions, even if we're not doing an episode. We love just engaging with y'all on social media. It's what we live for. So we're going to wrap it up, as always, with a piece of gold. Today, your piece of gold comes from your girls, Gold Ivy Health Co. And it is the first step to owning your life is choosing curiosity.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.